In the winter of 1958, a young man traded rhinestones for khaki and stage lights for snow. His name was Elvis Presley, the most famous man in the world. But for the next 2 years, he would be known simply as Private Presley, one soldier among many, stationed far from home in a divided world. The papers followed his every move, expecting a star. But what Germany found instead was a good man. A man who carried humility like a medal and kindness like a commandment. This is a story of Elvis Presley, the soldier with a kind heart. When Elvis was drafted, the world held its breath. Would the king of rock and roll demand special treatment? Would he serve or stay safe behind his fame? But Elvis made one thing clear. I want to be treated just like everyone else. And he meant it. He slept in the same bunks, ate in the same mess halls, did the same drills in the freezing rain. He refused to pull rank. He called his sergeant sir and his friends brother. And little by little, the men around him realised he wasn't acting. He was simply decent. He didn't just serve his country. He served with grace. Elvis's kindness didn't stop at the barracks door. He gave his fellow soldiers his extra pay. He helped cover family emergencies quietly, so no one else had to know. He'd write letters home for those who couldn't spell well and send care packages to families in need. He didn't tell anyone. He just did it. When a friend's mother fell ill, Elvis paid her hospital bills. When another soldier's child needed a winter's coat, he had one sent from Memphis. He once said, if I can make someone's life easier, that's what I want to do. And that's exactly what he did. Without the cameras, without the crowd, without needing anyone to notice. Elvis wasn't just kind to his fellow soldiers. He was kind to everyone. To the German townspeople, he wasn't a celebrity. He was a neighbour. He'd stop and chat with shopkeepers, play with local children, and offer rides home to people caught in the rain. There's even a story of him helping a little boy whose bicycle had broken in the street. Elvis fixed it himself, then brought the child a new one the next day. He'd share food from the mess hall, give chocolates and gifts to the neighbourhood kids, and hand out autographs, but only if they asked politely. Always teaching respect through example. To the people of Bad Nauheim and Friedberg, he wasn't the king. He was a gentle American with the warm smile. Even though fame followed him across the ocean, Elvis kept his feet on the ground. He lived in modest housing off base, shared dinners with his fellow soldiers, and spent evenings listening to gospel records from home. He missed his mama terribly. Her passing just before he shipped out left a wound that never quite healed. But instead of turning bitter, he turned that pain into gentleness. He once told a friend, "You never know how much you can love people until you can't tell them anymore." And that's why he treated everyone he met like they mattered. Because to Elvis, they did. Elvis was curious about people, places, and the ways others lived. He'd learn bits of German to speak with the locals. He'd listen to their stories, even visit families for dinner. Always respectful, always humble. He didn't hide behind translators or managers. He met people as himself, a polite southern boy far from home, trying to make a difference. Many Germans later said, "He showed us what Americans could be, kind, fair and friendly." That's who Elvis was, an ambassador of goodwill, not by title, but by heart. Perhaps the most touching stories come from the children who met Elvis in Germany. He'd wave to them as he drove by, stop to play, and always hand out candy with a grin. He'd bring gifts at Christmas time, dolls, sweets and toys bought with his own money. He'd visit orphanages quietly, without press or photographers, just to bring a little joy to children who had so little. Those kids grew up remembering not a superstar, but a soldier who treated them like family. Even decades later, some still keep the trinkets he gave them, a coin, a picture, a smile they never forgot. When Elvis returned home in 1960, he didn't boast about what he'd done. He said little about the good he'd done overseas, because to him, kindness wasn't news, it was normal. But the soldiers who served with him never forgot. They told stories of his humility, his laughter, his quiet generosity. They said he never asked for special favours, only the chance to serve. And when he left Germany, he left behind more than fans. He left behind friends. He left behind a reputation not of stardom, but of sincerity. The army years could have been a pause in Elvis Presley's story, a detour in his legend. But instead they reveal who he truly was. A man who traded fame for duty, comfort for courage, and still found ways to give. He didn't stop being Elvis Presley. He just became the best version of him. In the cold fields of Germany, far from home, he proved that kindness travels, that compassion needs no stage. He was Elvis Presley, the soldier who saluted not just his flag, but humanity itself. Because this is who Elvis was at his core. A man whose heart led the way long before the music did. His compassion wasn't a performance, it was his nature. Whether on stage, in uniform, or at home with family, he lived with gentleness, humility, and respect for everyone he met. The stories of his kindness aren't legends. They're reflections of a soul that never forgot where it came from, or how deeply love could change the world around him. Because even in uniform, the king of rock and roll was still the king of hearts.